everyone. Welcome to Inside Sports Talk with your host, Johanna-Rosalye. I am joined today with my wonderful co-host, Ed Cole. How are you tonight?
Joanna, it's again an honor and a privilege to be with you broadcasting and talking sports. Let's get it on. Yes,
very, very exciting. We'll be talking football to you guys today. So much has happened. We have the playoffs are in the air. We're getting closer and closer as each week approaches. We're pretty much down to the wire on, you can almost say that. So we have a couple of teams that who've already have that, clinched for them, and they don't have to worry about that. Must be nice to be the Chiefs, or, don't have to worry about fighting that spot in the playoffs.
Yep, must be nice.
I believe the other team is the Saints, if I remember correctly.
I would think the Steelers would be in there as well, even despite their loss to Washington. 11-1, I would think they're in there.
Yes. So, but ready to go ahead and bring it to you, and we'll go ahead and we'll just let it all out because we have a lot to say. We're not going to hold back. Right?
Do we ever?
Never.
Ever.
So, just saying.
If PLR was here, he would echo the same thing.
Yes, indeed. We'll try not to talk too much Bears so we don't, hurt some feelings. We're going to go ahead and get down and dirty. We have our local team, the Arizona Cardinals. I'm just going to kick it off, rip off that Band-Aid, and get it over with. So we had the Cardinals on Sunday face off the Rams. That ended up being a 28-38 loss for the Arizona Cardinals. I'll be honest, I did not watch the entire game. I kept going back and forth, of course, being that the Packers were playing at the same time as the Arizona Cardinals was a little bit hard to keep track of both. But it was just tough to watch that game. With that loss, the Cardinals come down, and they're fighting for that playoff spot. And they came down below the Vikings. Vikings won. So they're, hand in hand. The Cardinals, their team is worst in the NFL when it comes to penalties. That's really not much of a surprise that they have the penalties that they do, or they are one of the most penalized teams. But to just be the number one with the most penalties in the NFL is just unacceptable. And that, for one, needs to change. The defense was not solid. Once again, what needs to change, Ed, for the Cardinals to turn this around? They came out at the beginning of the season. They were hot. They were getting those wins. There were, there were mistakes, and there still have been mistakes. Third, fourth weekend to the season, and they just haven't really been able to recover from that. Is it the special teams? Something there that's not clicking, that's not working? Is that part of it? Is that the major issue at hand? One of the things that I see is Isabella. I think that Murray needs to throw more to Isabella, and he's not using him enough. Because when he does utilize Isabella, things happen. The team doesn't have Fitzgerald right now. He's been out 2 weeks. He's hopeful to return the next game, which is imperative for the Cardinals to win. So, Ed, I just went on a rant, and I know I asked you a question. Jump in here.
I think there's so many different issues that's going on with the Arizona Cardinals. Yes, special teams is a huge part of it. Zane Gonzalez has missed 6 field goals this year. He missed one He missed one on Sunday, a 48-yarder, which right before halftime, which would have cut the Rams' lead to 14-10. And of course, we've known the other misses that he's made. He's missed some huge kicks throughout the season that's really hurt the Arizona Cardinals. He missed one 2 weeks ago against the New England Patriots that could have given them the lead late in the game, and that didn't work out for the Cardinals. And then the Patriots went down, and Nick Folk kicked the 50-yard field goal to win the game for the Patriots. So there's so many situations that Zane Gonzalez has put the Cardinals in a negative light because he's missed so many field goals. Again, 16 of 22, 6 field goals missed on a season. That's, like you said, I'll use your word, unacceptable for a kicker. You just cannot have that happen. And I don't even know, frankly, why Zane Gonzalez still has a job, because all the misses he misses on field goal attempts are crucial. They're major misses. and it's hurting the Arizona Cardinals because I don't even know if Cliff Kingsbury can rely on his kicker. I don't know if he can look at Zane Gonzalez honestly, Joe, and say, do I want to really roll Zane Gonzalez out there and risk him missing another field goal when we can possibly even just go for it on fourth down? I mean, at least we got a better chance of completing a fourth down than having him roll out there and miss another field goal. And then we're still in the same position where we are right now. It's still the same position the same issue as far as field position, but at least you don't have your kicker out there missing another field goal. And then you're like, oh my gosh, our special teams is even that much worse. But that's one aspect of it. Another aspect is I think clearly teams have figured out Kyler Murray. These defensive coordinators have film. Of course, they're watching film on Kyler Murray. They are studying him like a college student studies for a college exam, like we did when we were in college, when we were studying for exams. These defensive coordinators are studying that hard on Kyler Murray on how to stop him. And clearly the Rams did that yesterday. He was a complete non-factor as far as his passing game went yesterday. Yes, he threw 3 touchdowns, but he threw for 173 yards, Joe. He was a non-factor in the running game as well. In the first half, the team had 18 yards rushing in the first half on 8 rushes. You cannot have that happen, especially, yes, the Rams have a championship caliber defense. They're the second ranked defense in the National Football League. I believe their rushing defense is number 3 in the league. So, yes, they only give up what they gave up yesterday. They gave up 92 yards on Sunday to the Cardinals. They give up 93 yards. So they were average as far as what they were giving up on the running game. Their defense is outstanding. That is a stellar defense. But I think, again, teams have figured out Kyler Murray and how to defend him and go against him. You saw on Sunday how many of the defensive linemen had their hands up trying to disrupt lanes, trying to disrupt passing lanes for Kyler Murray because they know he's a short guy. If they can get their paws up there and block Kyler Murray and block his view to try to to complete a pass to DeAndre Hopkins or Keyshawn Johnson or Dan Arnold or anybody out there other than Larry Fitzgerald, which, of course, he missed Sunday's game as well. He's missed 2 straight games. Can he complete a pass to Andy Isabella? No, because these guys are getting in his lane. They're collapsing the pocket, so he's not able to get out there in the flat and do what he usually does, which is create havoc. And the Rams did that yesterday on Sunday, and that's what the result was. But their offense is struggling because I think, again, teams have figured that out, and their defense is not as good as it was in the first 7 games of the season. And the team has looked so much different after the bye week, Joe. They've lost in the month of November and the early part of December. They've lost 4 out of 5 games. If it were not for that Buffalo Bills miracle, the Hail Murray from Kyler Murray to DeAndre Hopkins, they'd be on a 5-game losing streak right now. So they've lost 4 out of 5 games since the bye week. They've looked like a completely different football team since then.
Yes, you said it, a complete different football team from what we saw at the beginning of the season to what we're seeing now. And it just, instead of it getting better or seeing some type of change, it just keeps deteriorating more and more. And I feel for Cliff. He's the coach. I know he's taking the heat. Murray as well. But at this point, I don't know what more can be done. Already know this is, what it comes down to in the faults that you have. I don't know what more they can do to turn this around. And you're facing these important games that are must-win games. And I don't see that they're going to be winning these.
I don't even know if they can go to the MetLife Stadium on Sunday in East Rutherford and actually beat the New York Giants. The New York Giants are one of the hottest teams in football right now. They just came off a win in Seattle, Joe, against the Seattle Seahawks. That's a place where Russell Wilson very rarely ever loses. And the Giants went up there and manhandled them, held them to 12 points in their own building, forced 2 turnovers on the Seattle Seahawks, beat them 17-12. This is a team that's won 4 straight, Joe. They're in first place along with Washington at 5-7. This was a team 8 weeks into the season, Joe. They were 1-7. And at that time, they were still in contention for the NFC East division. And now they've won 4 straight, possibly 5 straight if they beat the Cardinals on Sunday, which is a very high possibility.
Yes, now 5-7 team who beat the Seahawks, who are 8-4.
And, Joe, this is a really good New York Giants team. Joe Judge has his boys rolling right now. There were so many questions about whether Joe Judge at the beginning of the season, whether he's the right fit for the New York Giants. Can he bring the Giants back to prominence? Well, it didn't start off – the first half of the season didn't start off well for them, but the second half has surely turn things around for the New York Giants. Again, they are tied with Washington for first place in the NFC East Division. Should they beat the Cardinals on Sunday, they'll be 6-7, back in first place in sole possession of first place, depending on what Washington does against the San Francisco 49ers. But that is not going to be an easy task for the Cardinals to go to East Rutherford, New Jersey, and win and beat the New York Giants. At this point, I don't see that happening.
It's going to be very tough. And if seeing the Cardinals in the Cardinals game against the Bills, if that's in any example of what they have going in facing the Giants, you have it there. The Bills, we know where they're at, and we saw, okay, they're not the greatest team, but it's a team to look out for. And look at how far they made it and where they are now. The Giants is just another example of those teams.
Yes.
The Cardinals need to put it together, bring their, stuff together, and go out there with everything that they got so they can beat the Giants, because the Giants are coming off a huge high, beating one of the best teams or the best team in the NFC West, who are the Seahawks.
Yeah, other than the Los Angeles Rams, yes, I'd agree with you. And yes. Again, and I'm sure not a lot of people gave the New York Giants a chance to go to Seattle, to go to CenturyLink Field and come out with a victory. But you know who did? Themselves. They believed they could go to the Pacific Northwest, beat Russell Wilson, come out of there 5-7, and be in first place, and that's exactly what they did. They were down 5-0 at the half. They gave up a safety right before the half, and the Seahawks kicked the field goal before that. After that, it was a whitewash. They had a 17-0 run. Alfred Morris had 2 touchdowns. The journeyman Alfred Morris, Colt McCoy, played decently. I mean, he didn't really have to with the Giants defense. He didn't really have to play like Jared Goff did yesterday. He didn't have to throw for 351 yards. He just had to play smart football and let his defense do the rest. And that's what they did yesterday. That's the recipe for what the New York Giants do. They've been known for having stellar defenses throughout the entire organization, from the beginning of the New York Giants until now. They've been built on defense, and not to say that they haven't had solid players offensively throughout the years, because they have had it, but they've always been known for their tight and ferocious defenses, and that's what they have this year under Joe Judge. I'm worried about Sunday. Honestly, I'm worried, Joe. Seriously, they're going to go cross country against a team, like you said, that is so hyped up, that have the highest of beliefs in themselves. After going out to Seattle and beating them and winning 4 straight games, of course they believe that they can win 5 straight, knock off the Cardinals, and be 6-7. Why wouldn't the Giants believe that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm no doubt about it. And I'm not looking forward to watching that game at all. And I'm probably going to watch it like watching a scary movie, you know, like this, with my hands over my face and peeking through your fingers, that's probably what how I'm going to be watching the Cardinals game on Sunday.
It is going to be a slugfest, and that's what the New York Giants want. It's going to be cold up there, I'm sure, in New Jersey, and that's going to make it. That's an even tougher factor for the Cardinals. They've got to go, obviously, for the fact they've got to go cross country. It's going to be cold weather. Again, you're facing a team that is on a major roll right now, that has the utmost in confidence in themselves, and you're reeling right now. Lost 4 out of 5. How do you rectify that? How do you remedy yourselves? How do you bring yourselves back to relevance? How do you believe in yourself that you're the Arizona Cardinals and you can go cross country and beat the Giants? If you don't believe that, then nobody else will. Yeah,
it all starts with you. Believe with yourself and the team. And I just wish the Cardinals the very best, and hoping that they do come off with the win, and that we are wrong. They can prove us wrong of them coming up with the loss going into playing the Giants, as they play the Giants. So just have to wait and see. Hopefully Fitz comes back and he's good and can be a benefit in helping bringing the Cardinals to a win with Hopkins. Yes, we know that they've already figured it out, but they need to come up with something different. They need to get it together and have some changes in there. So change up your playbook.
Because you cannot have DeAndre Hopkins have only 52 yards